Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be building the ultimate mid-range RTX build. So let's start out with the CPU. Personally, I'm partial to AMD Ryzen, so I'm going to go with an 8-core 16-thread Ryzen chip, the Ryzen 7 3700X. Now, I'm not going to add a CPU cooler on here because the 3700X comes with its own cooler, the AMD Wraith Prism. Now, this cooler is extremely adequate for this, and you can even get some mild overclocks on it if you want to. And this is a great chip. You can use it for rendering, streaming, and gaming. It's a great all-around chip, and with 8 cores and 16 threads, the options are endless. Now let's choose a motherboard. Since this is a lower end build and it's not a super high end, we're not going to go with an X570 board because those are pretty expensive. So I think that we're going to go for a B550 board with integrated Wi-Fi. In case you don't know, B550 is sort of the cheaper end of X570 boards. So it's a cheaper chipset to make and it has less features. So for example, not everything will be PCIe Gen 4. You'll get some PCIe Gen 4 for your graphics card and an NVMe drive, which is perfect because we're going to be using an RTX 3070 in this build. So I'm going to filter from price lowest to highest, as you would in a low end to mid-range build. And this board looks great, and 128 gigs of memory. I think that's more than we're ever going to need for this build. And if you're going to have 128 gigs of memory, you're probably going to want to be on X570 anyway. Okay, now, speaking of memory, let's choose some. So, this kit, the Corsair Vengeance LPX, is so good. It's so good for its price point, and it beats out basically anything else. It's 3200 speed and 16 gigabytes. It's a 2x configuration. And you can always add more, so you can get another pack of these, and then you can have 32 gigs down the line if you don't think that 16 is enough or it's not meeting your needs. Now let's go for storage. So since this is a mid-range build, I'm going to want everything to be SSD storage, because SSDs are really great for modern computers because hard drives are the thing that's limiting modern computers the most. So I think that we'll just go for a really cheap boot drive for our first one, because it's always good to have a separate boot drive as opposed to your main drive. So the ADATA, yeah, this is a reputable brand and pretty good price per gigabyte, 120 gigs SATA, perfect. So we'll go with that as our boot drive. Now we'll pick our main storage. So we're probably going to want, I don't know, it's a high-end-ish build. So I think we'll go for 2 terabytes of storage. Oh, alrighty. This one, that's a pretty good price. I have never heard of this brand though, but if you have and you're comfortable with them, then great, go with them. So I think that I'm going to choose an M.2 because it's smaller, they're easier to put in, and it just takes less space up in your system. So I'm going to go with the Western Digital Blue 2 terabyte, really good price per gigabyte, and it's an M.2, which is great. Okay, now for the video card. So unfortunately, I have to add a custom part because there's no 3070s that are like sort of available on the market. Or actually, let me check. Oh, I stand corrected. This is fairly recent because I don't think I've seen this. But MSI makes great cards. They have always made great cards, and I'm pretty sure they always will make great cards. So I'm just going to put in a price for this because since this card hasn't been officially released as of the time of filming, Newegg or wherever you might get this from doesn't have the price on it yet, so I just have to manually put it in. And I'm assuming that it's going to be the MSRP of $500 for the RTX 3070. In case you didn't know, the RTX 3070 is actually faster than the 2080 Ti. I know, it's pretty crazy. But I guess that's just a generational leap of ampere. So I've used this case in my low-end gaming build, and it was probably overkill, honestly. but it's a really great case. It's unbeatable, like especially for its price point, and it has like one of the best airflow is in any case that I've ever seen. And I was actually going to use this into an upcoming build until I decided to go with a small form factor case. So the Cooler Master TD500 Mesh is a super great case, and I would recommend buying it for any build that you're spending over $1,000 on. Now let's choose a power supply. So I'm probably going to go with a 650 watt unit, because then you can upgrade things down the line and so on and so forth. And then it'll just be perfect for what we need, and will be more than enough for our graphics card and CPU. We'll just sort by price, and actually I think I'm going to go with an 80 plus gold rating. Oh, I have not heard of that brand, and that seems like a really extremely low price for what you're getting. So I'm gonna skip that. I think we'll go with this Be Quiet one, because I've heard of Be Quiet a lot. They make great fans and really good heat sinks, so they probably make great power supplies too. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. There is your $1,400 mid-range RTX gaming system. So if you want to take a screenshot, go ahead. So the RTX 3070 is a crazy video card. So if you are going to play Minecraft with RTX on, you'll probably be getting around 120 to 144 frames a second with RTX on. And many other games you can easily play at 4K 60 FPS, especially with DLSS on. And it's just great. It's a great card, and it's going to be one of the best cards for price to performance value, and I just would really recommend getting it. However, there might be significant shortages in the first month or two of when it's released, as we've seen with the RTX 3080 and 3090. If you happen to live in Canada, like me, then the prices are going to be much different than what they are here. So if I go on to Canada, then you can see that everything is a little more expensive, and the graphics card will actually be around $650 to $700. So we'll save that. So if you live in Canada, your prices are going to look more like $2,000. Now, unfortunately, it's more in Canada, but $1 is worth more in America, so it kind of makes sense if you think about it. But even in Canada, this is still a great value build, and I really recommend building this if you have $2,000 kicking around. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye!